Part 2 of my Fomoria 80-player game. This is Fomoria the Cursed Ones, Blessings, and Pretender design. So what is a bless or a blessing? Basically, you recruit your sacreds, you recruit a priest, and bless your sacreds, and suddenly they do something very different. So what's the difference between incarnate and non-incarnate in Dominion 6? Well, when your pretender god is asleep, those are your non-incarnates. And then when they're awake, those are your incarnates. I should mention that the non-incarnates are still like active while the incarnates are active. Very cool. So magic paths and what they do for your pretender god. So first up, fire magic. So these are your non-incarnates and incarnates. Non-incarnates are morale, wasteland survival, fire resist, attack skill, inspirational presence, and righteous wrath. Morale is morale. It helps you resist running away. I don't know if anyone who takes this ever, but it's there. Wasteland survival helps you move through wastelands. That's not really a thing Fomoria deals with. You don't need to worry about it. Fire resist, very situationally useful, but considering how most nations in the early age have tons of fire magic, it can be worth taking. Next is attack skill. This is very big for Fomoria because your sacreds have spears, and that helps them. The attack skill helps them to stab people before they get stabbed. It's there. Then you have inspirational presence. It does something similar to morale, where your troops get a ton more. It helps them not run away. It's there. It's like morale, but better. Next is righteous wrath. Righteous wrath helps your units to when a unit dies next to them, they get a huge boost to stats. So it can be absolutely worth taking. As for your incarnates in fire magic, you have Death Explosion. Don't take it. It's not very good. It blows stuff up. Next is Heat Aura, where you get this little fire aura around, and it's kind of cool. It also gives you 10 fire resist, so it can be worth taking. Next is Fire Shield. If someone fails to hit you, they get hit by the flames. Can be worth taking. It's there. Next is Flaming Weapons. Kind of cool. Helps you blow stuff up. It's there. Unbearable Splendor is next. Unbearable Splendor is an MR check to basically resist going blind. So keep that in mind when you're doing stuff. It's not worth taking because it's a ton of bless points, but it's there. Next is Air Magic. This is something that a lot of Fomorian pretenders will use. First, you have Precision, which allows you to use your mages and their lightning bolts a lot more effectively to really pinpoint where the guy is, because lightning, for some reason, is kind of inaccurate. It can be worth taking. I haven't seen very many people take it because it doesn't do a lot, but it's there. Next is Shock Resist, which is very big on Fomoria. You do lots of lightning magic. In order to convince your mages that it's okay to cast Shockwave, having Shock Resist is pretty neat. Moving on to Far Shot. Far Shot allows people with bows to shoot further. You don't need it. Next is Awareness. Awareness is pretty good for Fomoria if someone takes it. I haven't seen anyone take it yet, but like, it's a valid option. It helps your guys not lose stats in combat, which is really big, actually, because they'll keep fighting on and not lose defense skill. Next is Swiftness. Your sacreds will move faster in combat and strike first. This isn't something Fomoria worries about due to repel, so you don't really need it. Next is Stormflight. Stormflight helps you fly in the middle of storms. You don't really need to worry about that. As for your incarnates, you have Windwalker, which helps you move a lot further. This can be really handy for Fomorias who are worried about how far their units need to walk in a game, because most of your best units are capital Next is weightlessness. You don't really need to worry about this. It uses earth magic as well as air magic, and it helps you float over the ground. You don't need to worry about it. You can cast flight spells. Yeah. Next is air shield. You can cast air shield on all of your mages for virtually free. Don't take air shield. It's not worth taking. Next is thunder weapons. Shock damage, stun people, can be neat. I haven't seen anyone take it because it's really expensive, but it's there. It's an option. Next is charged bodies. Charged bodies electrocutes people when they get close to you. I would only recommend taking that if you have shock resist already. It can be handy. And then lastly, flight. Basically gives you the ability to fly. Everyone flies. Considering all your mages can fly already, I don't think you need to worry about this. They all have the ability to fly if they want to. Don't stress it. Alright, next is water magic. First for your non-incarnates, you have Winter's Gift, Cold Resist, Swimming, and Defense skill. And for your incarnates, you have Chill Aura, Slowing Weapons, Water Breathing, Frost Weapons, and Quickness. So, Winter's Gift helps you move further in cold climates. Can be handy, but I haven't seen anyone take it because it's plus points you can put into actual stats. Cold Resist, also situationally handy. If you're facing a lot of cold nations, worth taking. Swimming helps you swim over rivers. If you're in a cold climate, doesn't matter. But if you're in a hot climate, then it matters. Next is defense skill. This is something I've seen people take on a lot on elves. Helps you basically not get hit in combat. Like once you get that stat high enough, they'll stay there. It's definitely worth taking them for more. Next is Chill Aura in your incarnates. Chill Aura basically gives you cold resist and a cold aura around your guys that freezes people around them. Can be handy. But it is situational, so like keep that in mind. Next is slowing weapons. Slowing weapons, if your enemies resist an MR check, then does nothing. But if it does do something, then it's cool. Water breathing, don't take this. Your guys are amphibious, or at least the kings are. Don't take water breathing. It's just don't. Next is frost weapons. Frost weapons also freezes people when they get close to you. Can be situationally useful, but it's there. And lastly is quickness. Huge stat buff. Lots of magic stuff because you have to have a magic skill to go with it. And you are twice as fast. It's pretty good, but it is a whole whopping 9 points. So keep that in mind taking it. That is very expensive. Alright, next is Earth Magic. I like Earth Magic a lot. It does lots of very useful things. Mountain survival. You move through mountains faster in your non-incarnates. Sorry, I should mention that. Reinvigoration. Also pretty cool. This is good for your mages. It helps you keep casting lightning spells. Next is Strength of the Earth. You hit harder. It gives you extra strength. It's there. Next is Unbreakable. Helps you avoid catching afflictions. You don't need to worry about that because normally in combat you either lose or you win. Unless your guys are regenerating a ton, you don't need to worry about it. Next is Larger. Larger is pretty cool because it gives you extra HP, more strength, but less defense. It's 7 whole points, so only take it on an Imprisoned Pretender build. You also need 3 nature to go with it, so it's very expensive, but it's nice. Next is your incarnates. Reconstruction. Don't take reconstruction. You're not a statue. You're not a skeleton. So you do not benefit from this. Don't take reconstruction. It regenerates inanimates. You're not inanimate. Don't take it. Next is Resilience of the Earth. It gives you 10 fire resist and 10 shock resist. pretty handy sometimes. Next is Hardskin. Hardskin boosts your protection rating by a certain amount, like 5. Pretty handy sometimes. Should you take it? Debatable, but it's there. And Fortitude, which is pretty neat for regeneration purposes. You take half damage from everything, at least in melee combat, which can be super useful. All right, next is Astral Magic. So your non-incarnates are Arcane Command, Magic Resist, Farcaster, and Arcane Finesse. And your incarnates are Magic Weapons, Twist Fate, Fate Weaving, and Etherealness. So for your non-incarnates, you have Arcane Command. It gives you extra ability to lead magical units. You don't need to worry about that very much in Fomoria, so don't take that. Unless you've got some really jank build that I know nothing about. Magic Resist. If you're facing a lot of stuff that will MR check you, like, that is super useful. Like, consider it. Next is Farcaster. Farcaster allows your mages to cast spells even further on the field. You don't really need to worry about this very much, because lightning tends to go across the entire field anyway, but it's there. And then Arcane Finesse allows you to penetrate enemy magic resist, which you also don't really need to worry about on Fomoria. It just don't worry about it. Next is your Incarnates. Magic Weapons makes your weapons magic. Go figure. You do not need magic weapons on Fomoria because of your Nemedians, who have these little golden spears. They're very cool units. Moving on to the next thing, Twist Fate. Twist Fate allows you to negate like a blow that would normally kill your unit, which can be really handy sometimes. Do you need it? Probably not, but you're welcome to try. Next is Fate Weaving. When a unit hits your unit, you basically give them super bad luck for the rest of the battle, and that can be really handy. Because there's lots of like jank math that happens in Dominions, and Fate Weaving can make it so that your stuff does better. So it's there. And then lastly is Etherealness, which is, it gives you the spell, basically the spell Body Ethereal, but on all of your units. If your opponents have magic weapons, this is useless. But if they don't, then this is very good. So like, keep that in mind. Next is Death Magic. Don't mind the skeleton in the background. That don't mind him. Don't look at him. He's just there. Next, you have your non-incarnates, Undying, Undead Leadership, Half Dead, Mending Bones, and Withering Weapons. And your incarnates are Stygian Skin, Reforming Flesh, Reanimators, Death Weapons, and Fear. So for your non-incarnates, Undying gives you negative HP to work with, which pairs really nicely with the spell called, with the other thing called Enchanted Blood. Undead Leadership for leading skeletons. You don't have a lot of that, so don't worry about it. Half Dead for supply reasons. It helps you not need supplies. So that's a thing. It also requires Death Scale, so it's not very worth taking. It's there. Next is Mending Bones. Mending Bones gives you, if you're undead, then you can heal off your afflictions. But you're not undead, so don't worry about it. Next is Withering Weapons. If you're facing a ton of human nations, this can be really good. Because humans don't live forever, and Withering Weapons gives them the decay effect in battle, which is very scary for them. Like, basically take their lifespan and reduce it to nothing, and they die. It's pretty cool, but in the early age, nah. Next is your Incarnates. Stygian Skin it's really good for survivability. it gives you invulnerability 15. So like that's pretty handy. But if you're facing a lot of magic weapons, which the early age has a lot of, then it's not really worth taking. Reforming flesh is good for skeletons and undead because it gives them regeneration. You're neither of those things. So in general, don't take this. Next is reanimators. You hit a guy, they turn into an undead guy fighting for you. Useful? Sometimes. Generally, no. Death weapons, basically you hit a guy, there's an MR check that happens, magic resist check, I should say, to see if they become diseased or not. That can be really useful against opponents where you need to attrition them down over time. And I haven't seen very many people take it, but like it has potential to be very, very cool if you're trying to like kind of do hit and run type stuff. And then lastly for death magic is fear. Basically people run away because they're scared of you. That's what fear does. You need a turmoil shift with this. Is it useful for Fomoria? Sometimes, because part of repel checks are a morale check, which actually can be a little useful. So if you want to do a fear Fomoria, like you can go for it. All right, next is nature magic. You have your non-incarnates, resilient, low light vision, poison resist, unaging, and poison weapons. And for your incarnates, you have recuperation, berserker, bark skin, and regeneration. So resilience is it gives you more HP. Low light vision lets you see in the dark more, which can be useful on Fomoria because you like to cast darkness effects. Poison resist helps you resist poison. Go figure. You don't need to worry about that very often, unless you're fighting something like with a ton of poison stuff. Then it matters. Unaging, don't take it. Your stuff lives forever. You're giants, like you live for centuries. Don't take unaging. Just don't. And then poison weapons. Poison weapons, you hit people, they get poisoned, which can be useful sometimes, but generally speaking, not really. Your incarnates are recuperation, helps you not have afflictions. It's useful sometimes. Not really for Fomoria. Berserker's cool because you want your stuff to have higher stats. It gives you more attack skill, but it lowers your defense skill. So, and your stuff doesn't run from combat anymore. So, like, keep that in mind. Next is Spark Skin. It works like Hard Skin from the Earth section. It works. It's there. And then Regeneration, which is very, very useful. You're playing giants, so like you can regen a lot. If you can get like good stats with regeneration, then like it's worth considering because that could go hard. Next is Glamour Magic. So you got Undreaming in your non-incarnates, Heroism, Quiet Stride, True Sight, and Blur. And then you have in your incarnates, Obfuscate, Awe, Displacement, Dread, and Luck. So Undreaming, that can be pretty useful because you like to cast Clouds of Dreamless Slumber. And that gives a huge bonus to your magic resist check for that. So keep that in mind. Heroism's great for stats. You like stats, worth taking. Quiet Stride, if you're stealthy, it's good. If you're not stealthy, then it doesn't really do much for you. It exists. Next is True Sight. True Sight helps you see things that are normally not able to be seen. You don't really need to worry about that very much, but it exists. If you're fighting Ubar, then it matters. Then you should probably take it. And then we have Blur. Blur is cool. It reduces all enemies' attacks against you by 2. It's definitely worth taking. And then for your incarnates, you have Obfuscate, which makes all your sacred stealthy, which is pretty cool. You don't really need to worry about that on Fomoria, but like if you want to surprise your opponents, then like you can definitely go for an Obfuscate build. Oz also pretty cool for Fomoria. It does a morale check. If your enemy's morale is low enough, then they just don't hit your unit, and then you get to smack them in the face with a giant spear. Very cool. Next is Displacement. It turns everything you have into elves, and it makes it a lot harder to hit them, which is actually kind of handy sometimes. Next is Dread. Dread is like Fear, but cheaper, but you can see through it if you have like True Sight or something. Pretty rare. No one really worries about it unless you're facing an Ubar. Then people think about it because Ubar's invisible. They got some stuff going on there. And then you have Luck. Luck is cool. It helps your stuff not die, but your stuff has enough HP that luck doesn't really matter very much. So it's there. Moving on to the last magic path, you have Blood Magic. So for your non-incarnates, you have Strong Vitae, Strength of the Flesh, Strong Blood, Enchanted Blood, and Blood Surge. I'm probably mispronouncing Strong Vitae, by the way. Incarnates are Blood Bond, Unholy Weapons, Blood Vengeance, and Vampiric Weapons. I apologize for the incarnate side of the screen. It did not come out as well as I liked, but it's there. Anyway, so Strong Vitae gives you extra HP. You don't need that, so don't worry about it. Strength of the Flesh gives you extra strength. I like that. That's very good. Strong Blood helps you resist diseases and just virtually disease resistant. And poison resist, I think, but for the most part, disease resist. And then you have Enchanted Blood, which is huge in the meta right now. People love this. It gives you 1 MR and 0.5 regeneration, which is way more handy than people think. Or actually, I think they figured it out since it's in the meta, but really useful. And then Blood Surge. Blood Surge is super cool. When you kill a guy, you get extra stats. You get +3 attack, like +3 something else, +3 strength, and +3 reinvigoration. So like super cool, very useful. I've seen people take this. Incarnate, you have Blood Bond, which makes it so all of your guys surrounding each other share like an HP pool. It's just kind of a scary thing to take, because if you get hit by like evocations, they all just die out of nowhere. So Blood Bond's not really worth taking, but it exists. Next is Unholy Weapons, which is super useful, super handy for dealing with enemy sacreds. If you're not sacred, then it doesn't matter. But if you are, then it matters. And this is very big in the meta right now of Dominion 6. Is like people messing with sacreds with unholy weapons. It's pretty nice. Next is Blood Vengeance. Blood Vengeance is super handy for making it so people don't wipe out your stuff all in one go. That said, there are ways around it, like fatigue plays and things. And like basically, it's a no you to enemy mages trying to kill your stuff. It pairs really nicely with Blood Bond, actually. And then next is Vampiric Weapons. Vampiric Weapons also requires death magic. It is insanely expensive, but you regenerate according to how hard you hit a guy. If you can put that with like high stats, then it is really cool. Not often you see that pop off though, but it is super duper cool. All right, moving on. Well, at this point, you've probably fallen asleep. It's been like 24 minutes. But these are the pretenders of Fomoria. There's way too many of them. So we're going to like kind of simplify this. So there are 4 variants of pretenders. You have your mages in Dominion Strength 1, your monsters in Dominion Strength 2, your titans in Dominion Strength 3, and in Dominion Strength 4 you have the immobiles. So your mages tend to carry a lot of the stat blesses because you can put tons of paths on them for cheap, and they can cast a lot of really big spells, but they're not so good in combat as the rest of these. Next is your monsters. They are super good at expanding and can really be super useful in your first war. But their magic paths are limited, so keep that in mind. Next is the Titans. These are like super combatants type stuff, but their magic paths are really sad. Like, it is so expensive giving them new magic paths. So like making them multi-path is almost impossible unless you specifically have like the meter of many names, in which case you can kind of ignore that, or the Demi-Lich, which also happens to be in the Titan class for some reason. And then lastly is the immobiles. These are the statues. They don't move unless you teleport. Then they move. They can go super high on their like individual paths, but that's not always the best thing because they don't move, so they can't help you in combat very much. But they also help you recruit a ton of sacreds, so like it really depends on how you're feeling. So the world of reality has its limits. The world of pretender blesses is limitless. So here's some example pretender blesses. First up, we got this one that I found. This is a Scales Fomoria. Basically, Winter's Gift to help you move through cold climates, Reinvigoration so you can spam your lightning, True Sight to help you see through nonsense, and Heroism for mass stats. This is a decent build, like it, and also like if you look at like the scales there, like Order 2, Production 2, like Growth 2, Luck 2. That is a scales build if I've ever seen one. Like, you can get so much done with that. And so that exists. Next is this is a more generic build. It's like low scales, but still scales. And you get attack skill, shock resist for your big plays, your larger for more HP, and blood surge. This is a very decent build. It helps you do things that you want to be doing. Kill stuff, cast your lightning spells, and live longer. So, yeah. This is a weird build. This is the what we call the Whiten build. White Titan, basically. This utilizes some mechanics from a spell called Twiceborn. When you it's an enchant force spell. When your Fomorian kings die, you can Twiceborn them to become what is called a White Mage, which is then sacred. This spell abuses the crap out of that. You get Mending Bones so that they don't get afflictions, Reforming Flesh, and Regeneration so that by the way, they're not inanimate. So they get 20% regen on like a 200 health chassis. So they go nuts. And then you can forge regen equipment on them, and like you can take them upwards of like, I think 40% regen onto 200 HP. I don't know the math on that, but like it makes them really, really difficult to take down. Like insanely difficult. It's a very cool build. I personally don't like it, but it is very unique. This is a build that I've run recently. This is Fire Resist, Shock Resist, Strength of the Flesh, and Attack Skill, which can be super useful for messing around with those fire nations, and also just holding well until year 1, when I would unlock Unholy Weapons and proceed to knock the socks off of anyone that's trying to mess with me with a Sacred Rush or whatever. Unholy weapons, very nice to have. This is it for like if you're facing like a sacred heavy lobby. So what build did I take for this game? I took Shockwave Technology. So this is like a moderate scales build. Attack skill, shock resist, strength of the earth, blur for extra attack skill things, enchanted blood, and heroism for more stats. I'm a big fan of this. This is the build I'm taking. And lastly, that's the end of the presentation. Fomoria is so cool. I love this game. I love Fomoria, and I hope that you guys are ready for some very, very cool stuff that I'm going to be doing later. Ciao for now.